I know you just want to bop and jive with that music that you wrote, Andy. And guys, check out Andy's stuff on SoundCloud. It's some amazing stuff. But welcome, Andy, my co-host on Gardens the Untold Story. I'm Ken Somerville. We've got the Invisible Gardener, Andy Lopez. And on the show yesterday, you said we got to talk about remineralizing your soils. So here we are today. Let's talk about how to remineralize your soil.
So way back when I first started, somehow I keyed into minerals. I just keyed into some doctor told me about minerals. Mm-hmm. Some doctor says, if you have all the minerals in your body, you're fine, you're safe. You don't have volcanic rock dust. It's one of them. So I buy personally about 14 different types of rock dust from around the
and azomite.
Yeah, azomite is one of them. Glacier rock dust is another one from glaciers. Which leads me. Hi guys, hi everybody. Greetings. And so
you got your comments on?
Yeah, I have my comments on. I can see the comments. I have a special surprise for you. Maybe Ken will tell you later on. Right? I'm not going to say anything, but
okay. Well, I don't know. We could always, talk about it now. But it's a gift for everybody. So do you want to wait till about halfway through? We'll let a bunch more people come on before we announce the gift that you're supplying, Andy. How's that sound?
I don't think it's right to make people wait and say, well, we're going to give it to you in about a half hour. But anyway, so when I started doing this, I keyed into minerals, and then I figured, how do I how do I get minerals into the ground and stuff? So at that time, I ran into this, and I actually could provide a link for it because it was this company that. Well, I'll tell you what happened. So my dad used to take me shopping, and I'm from Miami, Florida, and we used to go to Homestead, which is like a farmer's market thing, right? A big farmer's market. And I would always look for organic produce. I mean, even when I was young, I wanted organic produce to bring it home. My parents said, well, that's too expensive. You buy this, it's no different. I go, yeah, right, it's no different. But anyway, one day we were going on this road when we first started, and there was this guy selling, did I never tell you this? This guy selling a stand. He has a farm and all this stuff. And he says organic produce, organic everything. So let's pull in there. Forget going to the market. Let's go here, right?
Right.
And so it's strawberries were delicious. His apples, everything was like mind blowing. I didn't know about refractometer, but it was sweet. That's all I know.
As a kid, that's all you want. You want the sweet.
And when I was young, I would eat like 1,000 pounds of lychees, 100 pounds of mangoes. You name it, was like rub it on my body. Even when we had quotes SEX, I rub it everybody's body. I was just kidding about that. But and he told, and I said, why does it taste so good? And he said, trace minerals. And I said, okay. And where do you get them from? I said, I buy this stuff. So this is an ad. I don't know if should I mention the name of the company, because we're going to have to get them to pay us.
We're not sponsored by anybody, so just give people the freedom of.
Okay, so I'm gonna do it here. I'm gonna type it out. FBRTRELL. So there it is. Fertile. Did it not? I hit the L. Oh, there it is. Did it come up? Fertrell. So you look it up, Fertrell, and they're located in the East Coast. And they're still there. It was ridiculous. Just not too long ago, I looked them up again. And what they do is, okay, so it's not exactly rock dust, but it's a very powder. They powdered eggshell. They have green sand in there. They have all kinds of other things that gets in a powdered form. See, so rock dust is a very genetic term for anything that's crushed into a powdered form. It could be made from rocks, And it was really cool. So I started buying it for a trail. That was my first experience into using it. This is like 7th grade.
Right.
I'm assuming everybody knows what green sand is.
Well, for anybody that doesn't, Andy, why don't you explain that it comes from old lake beds, and it's basically great organic material.
And it comes from this one place called New Jersey, so it's called New Jersey green sand. Off the coast.
Well, that's only the New Jersey one. There's other green sand.
I know, all over the world, but this particular one is where I got it from. This New Jersey green sand. I've learned one thing from experience: don't buy stuff from other parts of the world. You're going to pay an arm and a leg to have it shipped to you. Right? Have it shipped to you. in my early beginning, I used to buy rock dust from different parts of the world. I figured different parts of the world would be cool because I want to get, oh man, $50 would cost me 100, $200 just for shipping alone, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
And New Jersey green sand is a very, very good, excellent source of trace minerals. It really is. It's very inexpensive. Now it probably costs maybe $50 for 50 pounds. And you probably have to pay maybe $50 for shipping. So it costs you $100. And trace minerals is it really should be done in traces, not too much. Trace minerals do too much, it becomes toxic. So you can't do that. You have to go really slow. So so I started buying from him, and then when I first came over here to California, I'm driving across on I-10, and there was like a big dust storm, right? So and there was this organic strawberry farm. And I go, oh, so I put it organics. Oh, by the way, all the way across, you use creative soils inoculation. Yes, I know creative. It says it's creative soil, isn't it? CREA, creative soil. Is that? Wait, did you say it's create? What did he say? I use creative soil. I know the ID. Hey, ID. Do you mean CRESIB, or did you just spell it wrong? Is that the name of it? Creative?
No, it's creative, he says.
Creative. Okay, great. Okay. I get excellent. I get, and I like to know what that is, but I get I get my stuff from another place called Creative Soil.
Okay.
And they're really cool too. But anyway, while I was driving across on I-10, I pulled into this organic strawberry farm, and I was saying, the first thing I always say is, what do you fertilize with? What do you use? And guy says, wait a minute, I'm fertilizing now. This dust storm comes across, and all this dust comes over and just covers all the strawberries. And I said, I just fertilized. And I go, well, what do you mean? He said, over there is a rock. It's a quarry, a mining quarry, right? A mining quarry.
Yeah.
And so when they're digging stuff, what they do, they might, but they basically do construction. So they dig stuff up and they ship it out to make cement and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's a quarry.
Just crushing
rock.
So they have a pile of stuff they don't use. And this guy, they call, I forget what they call it, but basically we can't have no use for this stuff. Because so that is very, very fine dust, 200 mesh. Yeah. And the dust, and I said, the guy across the street, the strawberries have been fertilized. We do this stuff that you can't use. And so I said, maybe, so I would go, because it's not too far out of, on your way to LA, you would basically see it. It's not, on the way out of LA, you go past the, on the other side of the world, so to speak, and out there into the desert. And it's way before you ever even get into Desert Hot Spring. It's a powder, right? It's a very, so I would drive out there and get bags of it. I went out there one day with a pickup truck and loaded it, and they were giving it away. I'm going, thank you, no problem, bye.
And it's such amazing stuff, but they don't even know.
No, and so then I discovered. So then I went. So then on my search for products, because I figured, oh gosh, let's just see what's local. We always want to find what's local. So wherever in the world you live, like if you live in Canada or wherever, you want to say, okay, what's going on around me? And one of the things about the mining operations, what you have to do is say, okay, give me a soil test. I want to know what toxins meant, because some of them are toxic. You don't want those.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So I did a test on that one. It's fine. It didn't have. They all the rock dust have, to some degree, some of the things which you would call toxic, but they're basically in such tiny trace mineral amount that is not toxic. Cadmium, mercury, lead, those things are essential, but they're like parts per billion kind of stuff, right? That normally you find, unless you're digging up an area that's concentrated for some reason, it's toxic, right? And you don't want that, right? That's a big difference. So I discovered that. So I went. I used to go down to, one of the things I did here was when I made compost, I used the rock dust, and it became really, really cool because I was really. So in Florida, I made compost. I made tons and tons of compost. But what I did was I go on the farm and I would collect chicken manure, rice manure, horse manure. I used to go to the circus and get the circus manure, the elephants. Right?
Well, that's a load.
Oh yeah, the elephant manure is really, really very interesting. You know where the two richest source of animal manure are in the world?
Um,
Richest source of minerals from animals are?
I believe elephant is one of them, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
what the I think zebra,
Earthworm.
zebra or giraffe,
Earthworm.
earthworms. Okay, well there you go.
Tiniest and the biggest because the
Yep.
process stuff through their stomach like crazy. And so the Brigham brothers, Barnum and Bailey, heard about
Hmm.
me once, and they said, "We have all this elephant manure, all this animal manure. What should we do with it?" And so I said, "I'll take the elephant manure from you." And
Hmm.
it's really cool because they have a little they have a so what happened once, one day I was there and they had 20 elephants, right? Now this guy shoveling the manure, and the guy said, "Didn't I tell you to pick up the manure?" Well, by the time he gets over here, he's got to start over again because they poo, 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 right?
Comes
And so,
out, goes in, comes out.
I told him, make a little bridge and let him poop right into my truck. I will, so, and the elephant manure, I call it hardens up. You have to get a chainsaw. I cut it up into blocks, okay? I cut it up into
Are you
blocks.
serious?
If you let it dry, it hardens up.
Okay,
So
okay.
the one guy says, I left it there and the shovel was stuck in the damn thing. He couldn't put it out because it started hard up. I was like, all you have to do is leave it a couple of weeks and it hardens up. So hi
Right.
everybody. So the so I so I people were buying my compost and I kind of stopped because in Florida I would make 100 bags a week
H.
of
Yep.
compost, and I made a deal with the prison that was there. I need laborers.
Right.
That's two guys come and they would turn the piles and make it for me and then put it in bags and I let them have all their beer they wanted. You
Okay.
know, and so that was the way it could. But so now I can't even lift up anything. So I'm working on a different form of compost in the sense that I'm calling it super compost, super soil. Basically, is I want people to take it, but not put it down, but to make liquids from it, make a tea out of it,
Right. Make an extract and
extract
use
out of
it
it.
in
Exactly right.
volume.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. So anyway, this guy in San Diego says I would like 20 bags of your compost. I drove down there, and
Hmm.
on the way down, I found out there was a hot mud bath place where people
Okay.
go and bathe in this hot mud
Yeah.
bath.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking hot mud bath. That sounds like a form of rock dodge because mud is basically, when it gets so it's basically down below in the bottom, somewhere in the middle of the earth, somewhere down there is a volcano. There's heat that's causing
Hmm.
this bubble up to the top, and the people soak and
Yeah.
stuff. And 'cause one of the things that intrigued me was it says remineralize your body with these hot mud baths.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
I'm
have a
going,
friend.
hey,
I had a friend. She had a spa. She literally brought mud in from the Black Sea because of the properties in that mud. So yeah, I can really see that that would be a fantastic place to get these minerals, Andy.
so I said, hey, I gotta go there. So I went there and I
Yeah.
talked to the person. Do you ever sell bags of this stuff? I said, yeah, you can sell. You want $2 a 50-pound bag? It was like warm. You put it in a thing, take it
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
But then what happened was a friend of mine caught on to it. I tell him this stuff is amazing. You should make a deal with it. And that's what he does. It's called AgriWin. Let me type it down.
Eggerman.
Agri Riwin. Did I type Agriwin? Let me see if I did it right. I can't see anymore. What does it look like, guys? Agrnwi. Agriwin. Agriwin. There you go.
Agriwin.
Yeah, right. And they're located in Southern California. Their
Okay.
stuff is actually called alluvium clay.
Okay.
Now, if you figure that one out, it's basically 30% calcium. Acetamide's 2% calcium.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
always
Yeah.
want to go with things that's one reason why you want to blend a wide variety of stuff because you're going to get a wider
Hmm.
range of trace minerals. On top of that,
Yeah.
there's certain trace minerals that are in agri when they're not and it's just say azomite or the glacial rock dust is really cool too. So what I want to do is before I forget. So one of the things I encountered was Haymaker and Don Weaver. And Don Weaver wrote Remineralization of the Earth.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really cool that he was saying, you know how the earth remineralizes itself?
Volcanoes?
That's one way. There's another way. Ice ages.
I say, well, yeah, because you're scraping right off the rock
That's right. It
and moving it
crushes.
around.
The glaciers move along and crushes these rocks into a fine powder. And then when it moves back, there it is. And they covered
Yeah.
pretty much the whole
Erosion.
world. Right.
Yeah.
So and so that's why Mother Nature does that. Mother Nature has an amazing way. And the volcanoes are exactly that. They bring all this so there's several. What's interesting I learned about minerals is that, and especially rock does it depends on how it's made. How did it get made? How did they make it?
Yeah.
Oh, who made it? What type of, and so when you have a volcano that takes all this energy, trillions, I don't know how hot it is, but it literally melts everything together, right? And then spits it out. That's one very interesting way of doing it, like Mount St. Helen. So when that happens, I wanted to go there and start loading stuff out of my truck. And if you go take a picture of it now, you'll see it's just amazing because it got remineralized. The whole area got remineralized. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's and then right now there's a place I think I don't know the name of it now, but basically there's a couple of places where you can just go to one place and buy a bunch of different sources of rock dust. I think this one's called Local, Local, and if you look it up, you'll see that they have 14 different types of rock dust from different parts of the world, but you only buy like maybe 5 pounds of it or something at a time, right? You don't buy the 50 pounds of. And then so there are several different places. One's called Down to Earth. And they sell. You can go there. You can buy soft rock phosphate, which is also a form of rock dust. You can buy azomite. You can buy a couple other different varieties of rock dust, from glacial rock dust to rock dust from different parts of the United States and Canada. They have their own source of rock dust there. So it's important that the remineralization of your property. It depended on a couple of things. So I was talking the other day to this lady. Says, I have about 50 pounds of rock dust. I'm dumping everywhere. Nothing's happening. I go, well, well, let me see. So I said, if you don't have any biology in the soil, the rocks will last you 1,000 years. They'll be there. Nothing will change. Nothing will happen. That's what, right? So I said, no, you need to. So when I was making compost, I learned one thing really interesting. So rock dust is, because it's a powder form, because of the unique energy that it has. When you get manure, I used to go to these places. Rand went totally fanboy on the wisdom deal out by Ken on Sunday. Is Ryan one of the two guys on there?
Ryan was the other host.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Jay. There you are. I remember Jay's name. I think is really cool too. He had so much. I have to actually. I'm looking at all those links that Jay put on there. I said, "Wow, this is cool." I soak up this stuff. I was telling just a little while ago. I was telling Ken, I was doing this when I got out of the service in 1970, and nobody even know what the rock dust is, or remineral, or any of that stuff. Nope. It's like you're kidding me, right? And I never even encountered anybody. I mean, Leighton, I run into about 4 or 5 years ago, something like. You can ask him, when did you meet Andy? And it's not Garden, but that's another company.
Visible Garden. We do have a couple of questions to get to, Andy, or do you want to finish talking about what you were talking about?
No, I could just. Okay. I'm very loose. See.
Okay, you're loosey goosey, all right. So how about remineralizing potting soils? Basically the same way you would remineralize any type of soil. Just once you add it, if you're going to use it as a potting soil or even in the garden soil, let it compost for 30 days. Let the biology break everything down, your green sand, your azomite, your rock dust. Don't just throw it on there and expect it to do wonderful things. Let the biology use it up first and then supply it to the plants.
Here's something I learned really cool about potting soil. So potting soil has vermiculite and perlite.
Yeah.
You know what that's about, right? Does everybody know what vermiculite and perlite is? The biology.
Vermiculite is expanded volcanic rock, and perlite comes from the ground. It's
Yeah.
they did have a case where perlite was contaminated with asbestos, but that mine's been shut down. So the mines that have availability for perlite now are safe to use, as I understand it.
I believe that the biology loves this shit, loves this
Yeah.
stuff. And so uh, what in terms of re-energizing potting soil, you can actually you reintroduce more biology to it. Basically, when you're making it, you want to. That's why it's so good to have like a liquid source of the biology. That's why I love using the worm casting,
Yeah.
the worm leachate,
Yeah.
because it's so easy to inoculate things with it. And so a lot of times when I buy potting soil, uh, I add a little bit of compost to it, which helps very good to inoculate it. But yeah, you definitely, so when you're watering, you have to water a lot. In the water, the biology is always in the water. So you have different types of biology you can feed to the potting soil. Because it's in a container and it's a whole different world thing, right? It's a whole different thing going on in there. And a lot of times city water is going to kill us. You got to remember to filter out the chemicals in the city water.
Yeah.
City water. What does he say? What did John Joy Jay? Is that Jay?
Yeah. Jay
What did he say?
Dixon. This one here, it's all about the biology. I facilitate a number of gardening live streams on YouTube. I aim to enhance the learning opportunities and make the live flow well for everyone. And as said earlier, something about the best mod on YouTube from what Big Grow says.
I would love for him to come on and do the thing on my shows, because I'm doing it by myself and I'm trying to figure out how to read and type at the same time to do all this too. It's a very difficult thing. But anyway, so the agrimin is agrimin. It's actually agrimin. It's agrimin, right? AGRMIN, right? I'm pretty sure I got that right. The 30% calcium is a killer, man. It's really does a trip on the plants. Really need that calcium more than anything else to get things going. I've found experience. Nitrogen is not the important thing that's needed. Nitrogen,
calcium, carbon, silica, those are a lot of the main building blocks.
Right. Yeah. And so very important. So I've been doing the Remineralize. So I think, is everybody here now?
Yeah, you want to do your show, talk about your giveaway here.
So in the description, Ken is going to put down 3 interesting PDF file books. One of them is the one, Survival of the Civilization, that we had talked about, and when we had Faust, is that his name?
Dr. Bob Faust, yes, on the Soil Matters.
And he talked about the survival of civilization. So I have a link to that one. It's free down low. I also, this is a gift from Don Weaver. It's a friend of mine. John, it's John Haymaker. John and Don are old friends of mine. We were running around doing stuff. And Don Weaver wrote Soil and Health book, the love and regenerate the earth. And says further perspectives of the survival of civilization. That's a free book for you guys too. And then he also wrote fruity culture.
Cool.
Fruity culture. So you'll have a link and just download it, enjoy it. It's absolutely an amazing book. This came out in the early 70s. Okay. Yeah. So people are like, what the heck are you talking about? Right. And so these people are so into this, they give it away. They don't want you to be commercialized. In other words, you're not supposed to sell it. If you start selling this stuff, you'll get bad karma and you're going to go to HELL. Okay, that's no good. But you can give it away. You can keep passing out. So I've been passing out these books like for centuries. Literally, it might be centuries. and it's really good. And I think I'm going to add. See, the thing is, there's no place where you can get the bricks book. In other words, I would love to give you a link to a company that does it, but the guy said he's not doing it anymore, doesn't have any links for it. I might put it on my website. I'm probably going to put these things on and then I'll put the bricks book up there as well. These are all
Cool.
PDF files, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go. I'm really crazy, so I'm going to go two more steps further. So I have two other books that I'm going to put up there. Now, actually, I have 21 books, and they're all PDF files. So don't push me because I might just start putting links for all of them up there as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then if somebody wants to buy a hard copy, they
yeah,
can purchase it and buy the hard
yeah,
copy.
yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that idea, Andy.
Yeah, and my first book was How to Heal the Earth in Your Spare Time, 1971.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no problem. I really look. I was talking to this lady the other day. I did a house call, and she said, "I have absolutely no money." And I said, "Well, you have balls to have somebody come to your house and expect you to do something for no money. What were you thinking?" And he says, "Well, I looked you up. I know who the Invisible Gardener is." And I
Right.
said, "Okay." So I told her that I'm not doing this for the money. You know, I don't really do it for the money. I don't think any of these guys, you, Leighton, really do it for the money. The money happens to be a
What
benefit.
money?
The
What money?
Exactly right. What money? That happens to be a benefit that you get. Is that silly? Is that silly?
Yeah, she's saying that she wants me to bring up the cover of your book.
Bring up the cover of the book. Which one?
Well, see, I've got it sitting in front of me.
Well, bring it up, grab it, and bring it.
Organic, it's organic. I don't know if you want my face that close to the camera, you know. And I got to move my cat. And hold on. See, there was a cat in my lap. He's not happy now.
That's a good name of a movie. Cat in my lap, on my lap, not in my lap.
Roof, you know.
There you go. There he goes. Oh, this is great. Okay, guys, we're gonna have part. Oh no, he's back. He's back. That's the book. Isn't that cool how invincible it is? You can see right through it. And I own the copyright to that, by the way. And I made that up in ninth. So in the sixth, I'll tell you about that. So in the sixth grade, from the sixth grade to the ninth grade, I did my own business. And it wasn't really a business. It was like a gardening business. And I got in trouble in this. In the sixth grade, I decided I wasn't going to do phys ed. I wanted to garden. I want to do a garden. So how much physical can you get doing a garden? It says, no, you can't do it. You have to do baseball, football, any of these other things. You can't do it. So one of the girls said, but you can come and do home ed, and you can do gardening through home ed. You get credit. And they said, how do you know this? I went to the teacher. She says, that's right. You can come in. So I was the only guy in the whole girls who were doing home ed. And my thing was to do a garden. And so the groundskeeper said, okay, I'm going to build you a raised bed. And the process was really weird because it was a chemically, I don't know about they had Roundup in those days, but they were using chemicals on their lawns and all this stuff. And I said, you're kidding me. How can I have an organic garden and teach people anything? Because I was already teaching. I said, everything I do is available to anybody else. This is sixth grade, okay? And so my mother and I went to the principal and said, okay, you have to, there was a section that wasn't being used. Let him use that section over there. And you have to, no, you're not going to help us with your chemicals. You're not going to help us. So the guy who comes out, let me fertilize your thing. I'm going, you're kidding me, right? Go away, right? That kind of stuff. And so one of the things I did was I was probably the very first one to come up with edible landscaping because I went to the principal. I said, hey, I want to do. I didn't call it edible landscaping, but I want to grow. I remember the first time I said, I want to grow tomatoes all around the property of the school. Tomato plants everywhere, right? And that would be good because you can harvest it and put it in the cafeteria. Well, that was a bad idea because when things started growing, the kids would throw tomatoes at the cops and the teachers and all that stuff. It was a real mess.
Oh, yeah. You could have got a deep cock off for that one, Andy.
And I really did. So the following year, they said, no, Lopez, you can't do tomatoes. Oh, how about cabbage? That can't be too bad, can it? No, yes, it can, because you get cabbage. People were throwing cabbages around everywhere. But the idea was there anyway to do it again. And so by the ninth grade, I was going to say 150 people, but not really. I had gone through 150 people throughout the whole years. You know, they come and they go. I had one corner cul-de-sac. I started one all the way in the corner. And the lady says, can you come over to my yard? And then, can you come over to my yard? And I had the whole corner. I was just literally, and I was actually doing a spraying service in those days. I wanted to foliar feed because in my family's home, my mom had a garden, and I
Right.
had 4 brothers. They would do They can tell you the statistics of every football player, baseball, all that stuff. But me, I'm out in the garden, and it's like
Yeah.
I've always been the weird one, you know. And so I took over the garden from my mom. I said, "Leave me alone, mom. I know what I'm doing." So she would give me coffee grinds to put out and give me coffee. So I learned some of these basic things. And I had these amazing stuff growing already. We couldn't make any compost in the back because there's no way. I didn't even know about making compost. What the heck is that? And so
Well,
I said,
yeah, back then,
and
you know,
I would go to the store and I would try to find something organic that I could use. And I go, there's nothing here. So I would go to the grocery store and I go, okay, I'm going to buy some organic. And even then, you couldn't buy anything organic. There was nothing really labeled organic, right?
yeah.
And
Well, it wasn't thought up yet. The term hadn't even come out yet, Andy.
yes, the organic gardening was out.
Oh wow, you know, but they didn't have it in the grocery stores and
No, they didn't.
labeling it that way. It was only at the farmer's market and your neighbors
Even
down
in
the
the farmers
road that you
market,
knew.
even the farmers market, I'll go. The word organic, I don't recognize the word organic. I was just saying, you're using chemicals. Are you not using chemicals? I wasn't. It wasn't until maybe I got out of the service that I could remember that word organic, right? Because when I was a young kid, I don't remember the word organic. It was all natural. We're not using chemicals, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, you know. I really seriously, I don't remember. I was thinking, when was the first terminal? When was the first time I heard somebody call it organic, right? Organic garden, the magazine, Organic Gardening. That was the name of the magazine. And so I started calling it organic. And that was probably towards when I got out of the service is when I started to early 1971 I picked up Organic Gardening magazine. I go, oh, that's a good title for it. I also went to University of Florida. I'll tell you one thing about that's interesting too, because I've been doing this for a freaking long time, and I've been dealing with the. I don't have a degree. You couldn't get a degree in so. If you wanted to get a degree in agriculture or farming, it's all chemical. There's nothing, sustainable in there at all. So I would at the University of Florida, it's a farming, they do a lot of farming there, but there was nothing organic at all to get. So I one of the things that I started doing was so I went to this school, I decided, okay, I'm going to go do agriculture. So let's just go into agriculture, see what happens, right? So the very first day, the teacher says, and I hope I'm not getting off of remineralization because all it has to do with the same thing. It has to do with mineral. This is the path that I took. You guys don't have to go through that path, but you do want to listen to what I'm saying because it's a cool process. So the very first day, the teacher says there's no difference between synthetic nitrogen and organic nitrogen. There's no difference.
Yeah.
Urea. By the way, urea is named after urine.
Yeah.
Right. And it's urea 6400.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And urine is like maybe have 2% nitrogen, but it's an enormous list of all the biology that comes with it. Right.
Yeah.
Enormous list. And I was raised my hand and I said, excuse me, don't tell the plants that. Right. And I call urea cocaine for the soil.
Okay.
And the teacher said, you out. How dare you? Right? How dare you tell me I'm the teacher? And I said, and then he said, you have a purple thumb. You can do whatever. So one of the things that we did that I stuck around for a while. So basically I said, I can prove it. I can prove it to you. So the teacher says, fine, how are you going to do this? So, okay, well, let's split the class in half. Those are people who want to do this way to do this side. And those people want to do that. We go on this side. And so we did. There was, I don't know if it was 10 acres of corn or 2 acres of corn or 1 acre of corn, but he was, what he wanted to do was grow his corn on this side and me grow my corn on my side. And I said, I'm going as far away from you as I can.
Get away from the chemicals sprays.
All the way over there. And we're going to grow this corn. And we have the same type of corn, the seeds from the same corn, right?
Right.
So here's what happened. There were some people with me. I don't remember everybody, and there's some people over there too. So the corn was growing. It was getting ready to harvest. And some cows broke out on the other side of town, went past this guy's place, all the way to my place to eat the corn. They said they would not touch that corn. They would go right.
Yeah.
And I go, they know something. And then I also did a table. And I said, I can prove it even more. Let's get a table. Let people taste it. Taste this one. Wash your mouth. Taste this one. Which one do you want? I'll take that one. Give me finish them out. And that's the organic one. And and the teacher was like, I give up. And then I said, well, don't give up, because it is not your fault that you're being taught. You're taught this. You have no idea what you're doing. And this has been a battle that I've been doing forever. So I'll give you another example. So I'm an arborist. So recently, I took the arborist test 30 years ago, 35 years ago. It's all 75% safe use of chemicals. They would say if the wind is blowing 20, how fast can the wind blow that you can safely use malathion, right? So I said, there's no safe way to use malathion. I would never use malathion. Give them a whole list of, and I failed.
Well, that's what they want you to use, that malathion.
I went through the whole test saying, which of these chemicals would you use for this disease? I said, well, the disease has nothing to do with these chemicals. Actually make the disease worse, blah, blah, blah. You failed that one too. So I actually took the test again. A friend of mine says, we have changed this International Society of Arborists. They've changed the test now, where it's like 5 parts. They actually have soil biology, soil health in it. Cool. They actually have biology of the trees, urban forestry, they have pruning and equipment safety. Well, I failed the test because I got a 93 in diagnosis and treatment. Okay, 93. I got a 93 in diagnosis and treatment. Okay, but I got a 40 in proper use of tree pruning. But basically, it is, arborists, what they mainly do is they climb up and down trees. They have all these ropes, they have all these knots. So they'd say, which of these knots would you use? And I would go,
I'm not a fisherman. What knots?
So I have 40 in that. It was 20%. I missed it by 17 points. And there were the other ones. If you were using a chainsaw, how would you hold it? Would you hold it between your legs? I said, well, you definitely don't want to hold it between your legs, right? I thought that, right? I said, well, no. So these were like things I have no, but now I know. And also what I have to do is get a few more points in these other sections. Urban forestry. So for some reason I got 51 urban forestry, and I'm going, so they have trick questions. They trick you. But the point is that nowhere on these tests do they have the word mycorrhizae appears once. So say, what is mycorrhizae and what do they do? I go, okay, and they give you a choice. So I got that one right. But the rest of it was like, and specifically in the other sections that they have there, urban forestry was so weird because I know what it is. It's the city, what forest you have in the city, and how you deal with that. But these guys are so off the wall, and I got 20. I only got 41% right, and my partners say, don't do what you know, do what they want you to know, and then you can do whatever you want to. And it's interesting too, because if I would become a certified arborist, I can't say I'm a certified organic arborist. There's no such thing. No such thing. California, anywhere in the world, you can't be a certified organic arborist. You can't do this thing. And it's like they don't even know about foliar. They must not know about foliar feeding, because I don't hear the word. When they spray chemicals. Right. And they do know about
trained to do.
And they do know about foliar feeding, but they spray chemical fertilizers. So one of the questions was, what are the problems if you use too much of fertilizer? And one of them was it damages the environment. I go, it damages the environment. So I got that. And that was it. The rest of it was like, holy cow, how much pounds of this fertilizer would you use? And I'm going, I don't know. I would say, I don't use this stuff. Why would you, why would you want to? So anyway, I've gone through this. And to me, and remember we talked a lot about it's the biology, but in reality, it's the minerals. Remember we talked about why do we really eat minerals in the first place? So the minerals are key to it, because they're key to our health, they're key to the health of the environment. Hit the like button, guys, and make sure you follow. And afterwards, I'll provide a link where you can send $100 to. I want cash.
Yeah, sure, Andy. So before you go on, we do have a couple of other questions that I think we
questions.
just quickly hit.
I didn't see that. I have to go to the comments over here. Right. Okay.
Go. We're talking about the rock powder from the mill. Okay. Is that mainly dolomite that is in that rock powder that you're picking up from the grindings from the gravel pit?
Actually, no. It was a form of a clay. It was very similar to the aluminum clay, except it wasn't heated. So the one in San Diego was already hot. So that was the source. This must have been an ancient source that cooled off. Because when they dig down, you can see the different layers. It's entirely. They were only going after the stuff that they can make, concrete from, for pouring concrete with. And they say we can't use it. You can't use
rock and sand and concrete, so they're only going so much. Now, speaking of the other, the mud you were talking about, is it bentonite clay that you're talking about, or as the alluvial clay?
Yes.
Okay, that's a quick answer. So, and then the last one. What's that?
Oh, the what's the author of the bricks book? I have it over there. I'll tell you what.
Brain fart. I was having those last night.
Yeah, I don't remember the author because this is one of those books I got way back in the early 70s. And he actually was, I met him a few times, and he gave me this. I actually have the original one he gave me, and then I got a PDF form of it, and he did. And he liked me because when I started, when I first heard of a refractometer, I said, refractometer is a tool that everybody should be using. And we can have a show on the refractometer because, remember, we did a little bit on the refractometer.
We have. Yeah.
So you guys are going to have to look it up, refractometer. Basically, it'll tell you your mineral content. Because a refractometer is really a measurement of sugar. Yeah. Right? And Mother Nature is so cool. She says, I'm going to take sugar, because, sugar plants, that's one of the things they do. They take sugar and they transport it throughout their body, right? And so, well, let's make a combination of, let's make it so that they take the minerals throughout the body via the sugar system that they have. So a refractometer tells you the sugar level. It also tells you the mineral levels. And there's a rule that another friend of mine developed. It's called the fuzzy rule, because you look at a refractometer, you don't know what minerals, because you're not paying. See, there's a refractometer that you can, millions of dollars that they show. They look at planets and stars, and it breaks it up into all the different
components,
elements, right?
Yeah, elements.
Yeah. So a refractometer is just refracts the light. Because remember, light and different minerals refract differently. We talked a while back about how insects see things. Like you talked about the bees, how the bees can see that. Well, they have a built-in refractometer, and inherently they know this color means this. Yeah. Right. That color means this, and then if this is a bad color, I don't want that. And so, so a refractometer will give you an idea. The higher the bricks level, the higher the mineral level. And if you ever look through a refractometer, there's a really sharp line that's black and white separating the two, right? And the fuzzier that line is, the more different minerals there are. So if you have a really thick fuzzy line, is the thickness of the line gets really fuzzy, you go, wow, lots of minerals. If it's just because, well, also if you say you have lots of calcium, we will raise the bricks level up, but you have no idea of what else it has in it. See, right? And so using a refractometer. So I started using a refractometer in the early 70s. I've been actually doing a radio show like this on the brick and mortars level. I've been going out, driving to the studios and doing that stuff since
you did your radio show for quite a few years, Andy.
Since 1970.
Yeah.
And this is like an FM station, AM station. Those things. I would drive to the studio, plug in, people will call me up, all kinds of weird things. People, this guy says, I'm a captain of a USS blah, blah, I forget the name, but it's a submarine. We're off the coast over here. We have a major amp problem. We can't spray anything. What can we do? Right? Or a lot of times, a police officer called me once. I'm a motorcycle cop. I have a garden, and I have this problem. What the heck's going on? And in those days, I used to call this microbes. When I met you, I started calling it soil biology. It's your fault. Okay, it's your fault. I'm calling it soil
all
biology.
about the biology.
And when I first heard you tell me soil biology, I go, Mamma mia, what the heck is going on here? Mamma mia, the meatball.
It makes so much sense.
Oh, it's very clear. When I tell people microbes, they go, what are you talking about? Soil biology, they get the idea something's going on.
They understand gut biology. That's why I refer to their gut biology.
Right. I do another show called The Gardener and the Doctor. So I have another show. I have about 20 shows. I do it on TalkShoe. TalkShoe is one of the places I've been doing my shows like forever. When I went onto the internet, I became invisible, literally. Because when people are listening to you over the AM, FM, then you can, TalkShoe. Thank you. Who did that? This is a magic.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
You have a magic thing coming up here, right? It's ridiculous. So I'm on iTunes. I'm all over the place, but it's really interesting, this educational process, because I'm learning more and more and more. One of the things I really, really enjoy is learning something new. Leighton teaches me stuff all the time.
Why did I start this channel, Andy Lopez?
Because
I wanted to bring those scientists on so I could really listen to them and delve deep. It was all about me, baby. I wanted to learn.
You're selfish.
Just happened to be sharing with you guys, what I'm learning, So
Leighton came to my area of the world.
Yep.
And people kept telling him, you should go talk to the Invisible Gardener, because Leighton wants to do his stuff with healing properties and stuff like that. And he said, I give up. He calls me up, and everybody says, I got to talk to you, so I'm talking to you. And he wanted to start dealing with the homeowners, right? I said, let's deal with the farmers. These farmers are nuts, right? And that's what got him going in that direction. And Leighton is one of the people, the first person and Leighton turned me on to you guys. See, right?
Yeah. You came on to the Soil Matters. You did 2 back-to-back shows with Leighton on the Soil Matters. Actually, you're due to come back on the Soil Matters with Leighton and catch him up with what you're doing.
Oh, I should do. I told him we should exchange time. He can be on my show and I could be on his show. Only Andy Lopez books I find are coaching baseball. That's okay. Look, there's
look for the Invisible Gardener, not Andy Lopez.
There's a trillion Andy Lopez on the planet here. The Lopez family is really going nuts. So you can look up Andy Lopez everywhere. No, it's only one Invisible Gardener. Okay, and that's me. And so if you really want my book, you go to my website and you click on the store, and it takes you to Amazon. If you type in Andy Lopez books, you're gonna find tons of. And if you just type them, "Don't Panic, It's Organic," there's lots of books titled "Don't Panic, It's Organic," but it's not me, right? And so if you type Invisible Gardener books, you're gonna get 20 or so of them all pop out. They're all Kindle books, except for maybe 2. And so I have tons of all kinds of books that I had written. I didn't want to redo the bricks book because the guy had it already done, But now you made me lose what I was talking about. Where was I? What?
You were in Hawaii? No, that was Mars. No. Jupiter?
I was talking to Leighton. Yeah. And so and what's interesting about me is that, and I may be wrong, I would love to have somebody come on and say, I'm doing the same thing you do it, but over in this part of the world, because I cannot believe that I'm probably the only one. See, I have learned through trial and error how to, and I can't say cure a disease in trees, but control the disease in trees. I can't say cure the pest, but control the pest. I have a book called Dances with Ants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is part of Don't Panic, It's Organic now. So I got both.
Right. So I put it in the book. When I saw Dances with Ants, I go, I'm going to call it Dances. It was Dances with Wolves. Gardener to the Stars. Right. I have gone through these guys. And I'm still, I have some people that I can't even mention their names. You have to sign this form. You can't mention this name. Why?
Yeah.
In Malibu,
Non-disclosure. A
in Malibu,
non-disclosure. Yeah.
there are more people here. People have more money than most nations. Okay, so it's like, what the heck? And so I've learned from this. People will call me up, and I would say, so my first house call was an ant problem. Look, when you have an ant infestation, you don't really have an ant problem. You have a soil problem.
Bingo.
I told you what happened. How the lady says, I have an ant problem. Says, lady, so she had 2 trees, one opposite sides of their house, either side. One tree had a bib, you know, where you hook up the water to, and the other one didn't. So the one was leaking all the time. And that destroyed the biology around that tree. And the ants were going nuts attacking the tree because the ants were saying the tree is it's perfect food for us.
Yeah.
In my book, I detail the latest low panic is organic. I've done so many different versions of the first one was how do you heal the earth in a spare time, and they have evolved to the left. So this is the latest version of this one. I actually state in there I actually state something that is a little mind-blowing to many people because they totally miss that. And I hear a few people saying, and I'm hoping they came up on their own by betting they got it from me. Basically, it's the difference between simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates.
Yeah, right? The different sugars. That's why the refractometer is so important.
Right, and it's interesting. Nature says, okay, simple carbohydrates, you guys can use this as a source of energy. Eat it, go for it. Yep. This you can't touch.
You can't break them down.
You can't process. You can't break it down. So when a bug looks at it and they go, no, I can't touch that. I can touch. So they have building refractometers. They say, yeah, this is what I want. And guess what the difference is? Trace the minerals. Yeah.
And when that you have that trace mineral content, you have that complex sugar, you know you've got a biodiverse biology building those cells, because without that biology, you wouldn't have those complex sugars. You'd have the lower sugars. So the more biology, the more, minerals, the more everything just works together and flows.
And I looked at it as the reason why you want to have so many different biology. I think they specialize in different ways to get the different minerals. That's my
calcium biology. Will break out and use calcium, where another biology it'll be phosphorus or manganese or iron. It's like everybody it's all the miners. There's coal miners, and then there's iron miners, there's gold miners. With the biology.
It's so interesting too, because diseases. It's a trace mineral deficiency. It's simple trace mineral deficiency, but it's I call it exotic ones. And the exotic ones require a specific type of biology or a way for the biology to get it. So when you buy organic fertilizers or chemical fertilizers, they usually don't come with trace minerals. They usually don't have. So you say you have the carbon, you have the letters on the fertilizer, right? NPK.
The NPK.
Right? And if you're lucky, they may have copper on it, but that's about it. Maybe they have calcium on it, right? I mean, in this arborist test, they said which are important nutrients that you need, right? And so they had NPK and calcium. I said calcium. They said you're wrong. You need I'm going. Blah, 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 blah. They said you need the NPK, and I'm going no. Without the calcium,
better. They don't have a freaking clue. And
I said without the calcium in my brain, I said I checked it. I said this has to be the answer, because these people are not that stupid to say you need the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and no, don't worry about the calcium, because if you don't have the calcium, you're not going to get that. Right. And so and I literally repeat it over and over again. So when you customer calls me, this tree has a disease, I'm always looking down. What are you looking for? I'm looking to see if what's going on in because you can tell immediately. I look at plants. I was telling the show with my business partner, see those plants growing? That's the number one deficiency plants have is calcium.
Okay.
And this company that I've taken the test for, and I'm hoping they don't watch it, they say it's nitrogen. And I go, no. It may be because you're killing the biology to such a point that they can't produce their own nitrogen anymore. Maybe that may have something to do with it, right? May have
Just
something
a
to do with
little bit, yeah. And there's no organic material in your soil,
it.
so there's no life, there's no exchange of nutrients, and yeah, it just doesn't
So
work.
people are really stupid because they will get the rock dust and just sprinkle it around. That's not remineralizing the soil.
No,
That's not remineralizing. So you want to, natural pest control is the revised, and that you can get a Kindle version of that free. That's one of the books I'm going to put up with the link. It's called Natural
okay,
Pest Control: Alternatives to Chemicals for Home and Garden. And every few years I re-update it. That's what this was called now. It's actually I changed that to don't panic, it's organic. But it's important for people to understand that you have to more roots in the ground. So I was talking
it's a key.
Michelle today. She says, well, why are you pulling these plants up? And I says, well, there's no real minerals in there. I said, well, yeah, they're good. No, because there's no biology in this soil yet. I mean, this is nothing's grown here. Totally barren. Nothing's alive in here. It was like a road with a driveway, highway, a little
Right.
road. And I pulled it up, and it was covered with a synthetic grass. They had a big layer of synthetic grass.
Fake grass. Yeah.
Right, fake grass. And so I said, so what I want to do in order to get the garden going, I'm going to put anything in there that'll grow, that'll just take off like crazy, regardless of what it is. So I've learned a variety of herbs. Cilantro just goes nuts. Arugula goes nuts. Doesn't care what's in there, And I'm taking it. So I'm pulling it up, making a pile, chopping it all up. And I'm going to put it right back in again.
Well, as a green mulch, at least. Like that's why chop and drop, works so well, especially when you're regenerating that soil.
Yeah, because it's like I tell people this lady I went to, I says, your gardener is picking up all the leaves, picking up everything, and it's just dumping it away, and you're wondering what's your problem, right? And I see it everywhere. It's like we become clean and addicts because Mother Nature tries to make soil, and you don't want it and then they freak out. So I do maintenance for one place. The lady I've been there since '84. So they have weeds. I would take the weeds, break it up, put it back down again, and say, wait, it'll decompose. No, it looks awful. We gotta get rid of it, clean it. So the guy that works for her would also just clean everything and throw away stuff full. Trash cans full of things that would be converting into. So when I started doing it, I found a spot you just can go to under the trees, made a little pile there, and I would bring it back out again. In my own place, I cut it up. I get scissors or whatever, cut it up and put it right back down again.
Yeah. I use a mulching mower on my yard and chop the grass up and put it back in. I didn't do that for a few years because I didn't know any better. Yeah. I was taking my grass off. No wonder I got compacted soil. But we have one more question here from Perpetual. Speaking of grass, what is the best way to compost grass? Should you be pureeing, I think he's saying, or bokashi? So I don't know if you know about bokashi, Andy.
Yeah. It's a really cool way to get the biology going and to use it. We talked a little bit about natural Korean farming, and they actually teach you how to get mycelium from one place to another place. Get it going over there. I remember going to one place. I said, "Excuse me, but do you mind if I take your mycelium and grow some and move it over to my place?" You had no idea what I was talking about, right? No idea. So, but the grass, what I did was, first of all, I always, as a kid, when I started making compost, I would say, "What are you putting on your grass? It's organic now." No, it's not. I'm not touching it. Because if you take somebody else's grass that's been using Roundup or whatever else, you don't really want that. You want it to be a natural organic source. And I myself run it through my compost system, add it to as one of the layers. I sprinkle it very lightly in my compost. I learned you don't want to layer because it will mat down. But if you sprinkle it there, it provides the nitrogen in the process of breaking down. I learned from experience, if you take grass and clippings, you put it around plants, it steals nitrogen from them in the process of breaking down. So you don't want to do that. Ideally, I layer when I make my compost system. I always use some type of animal manure. Sometimes sometimes a green, sometimes a green layer, a brown layer. It's like cooking. You have to get a certain mixture together that make it heat up. One day I heated up so hot that the whole thing turned into ashes. I guess I guess that's too hot.
Yeah, just a little.
Literally, I would be sent to Puerto Rico, and my family in Puerto Rico had a big farm, giant pile of compost, giant pile, and one of the things that blew me away, they had a steamer. They would put it in the compost pile, and woo, that's ready. I go, what? It was steam coming out, and that's
cool. That's a hell of a good idea, actually.
Yeah. Steam was coming out, and when I would make my compost in Florida, I had these big tubes that had holes in them. Basically, I pump oxygen. I had a little pump to pump air through it, and it would heat up really a lot. And I also learned when I was making compost, I make it in the bin method, and sometimes you have to water it a little bit. But I would catch that water and that liquid I would use and put it right back in again. And so for me, I would like to add the grass into my compost system. When I have my green stuff, if I ever have a grass, I would add it to whatever green stuff I have that I would make compost with. And I think I also too, I actually give it to my worms. A little bit of
you just are you grinding it up so it's more of a liquid, Andy, when you're feeding it to your worms, or are you just sprinkling on because, like as you said, you don't want that mass to form?
Right.
And cause a problem.
Like Leighton says, there'll be a moron. So you don't want to put more on. You want to sprinkle it very, very lightly, so there's plenty of airspace in between them all. If you put a big layer on there, it's no good. You're not making compost for the worms. You're feeding them. And they like green matter. They like this stuff, especially if it's natural and organic. They love that. And so that's how I would deal with it. But you can literally, it depends if you don't have a way and you can actually take that and put it into a big 5-gallon tub of distilled water, clean water, and you can learn how to make a tea from that, because you can grind it up. There are lots of different ways you can make a liquid out of that and use it again. We had 200 liters of grass per week. Yeah, but you have that's a lot of grass, right?
Yes.
And so make a big pile. Learn how to add soil and other things to it. Make a pile, because I would make a giant, massive pile of the layers. And then in the center of that pile, I would have a culture from the previous pile. I take the biology from that, put it in there, and start the process. And again, if you do too big of a layer, you look in there, you have this mat. So you have a thin layer, because that's your nitrogen source.
So you're basically saying take your grass, just mix it in with enough volume of your browns with the greens that it's going to be balanced out and not ferment in there in those big clumps. But Andy, brother, we're at that hour mark, man. Time went by.
If you can do 2 hours, why can't I do 2 hours?
Because we love you, and we know that at your young age you need to take more naps than the rest of us.
Yeah, I should probably do a nap. The time went by really fast. I hope I helped everybody. In the description, you're going to get those really cool books.
They're already in the YouTube description, guys. So if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or X, your Odyssey, you're going to have to come back to the YouTube video to get those links, because they're in the YouTube description on this.
And remember, it's all about the biology. And one more thing I want to say, if you play the right frequencies to the plant, they're more open to it. And you can actually have frequencies that help the minerals, for the plants to get the minerals. And that's what's really the frequency is all about. It's the data is in the frequency. The minerals are in the frequency. Really cool. So thank you guys.
There's so much to go on that, because we'll talk about the riff machine and other stuff on another show again. Anyway, guys, thanks for being here. The chat and everybody, that you guys are amazing. Really appreciate the time that you spend with us. We're back on Monday with the OG's Power Hour. Remember, we have switched the time from 10 Pacific to 11 Pacific, so that we're not interfering with John's education on what he's doing. And then, of course, we have Leighton Morrison in the afternoon. And we're supposed to have Michael Whitman. Yeah, Michael Whitman from Blue Sky Biochar on talking about biochar on Monday, guys. So
don't miss the
check
show.
it out then.
Thank you very much. Remember, go on my website. And I was kidding about $100. I want more money. I want lots and lots of money. I just send it to me. Okay. Bye. See you guys later.
Pesos. Yeah.
Pesos.
Bye, guys. Peace out.
Bye now. Peace out.